Hi everyone, I'm Tony with Harper Therapy.
And I am Jamie.
And we are starting a new month. We are now in December. Happy holidays. And I think with December, as a kid, you're like, yeah, it's December. But I think you get a whole different feeling as a grown up.
Oh, yeah. And, especially for those of us who deal with social anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Are you someone who dreads the coming up holiday celebrations? Are you someone who worries about what other people think, or maybe become self-conscious because you're going to be eating in front of people or around people you're not very familiar with, starting small talk? Maybe it is people you're very familiar with, and that makes it worse.
Yeah, like all those things, that's what the holidays bring up as an adult. And there's just some memories maybe that come up, because then there's grief with the holiday. Like there's just, I think the holidays encompass so much. So I think for the month, we're kind of talking about different ways to handle the holidays if you struggle with them.
Yes.
And so this first week, we're going to talk about social anxiety and how that affects you and how that shows up in your life. And I know I had told somebody, a client, that I had social anxiety, and they were like flabbergasted. They were like, "You have social anxiety?" And I was like, yeah, certainly do. And just the way that shows up. And it's, I might think, and it just depends on the week. Like there's some days where I'm good and I can walk into a room and I feel the confidence. And then there's other times where you walk in and you're like, okay.
Sure. Yeah, and it can have different symptoms. You can have an elevated heart rate. You can feel like your neck and your face are flushing, sweaty hands, even feeling like entangled in your thoughts and not being able to articulate as well. Even feeling like you might have a panic attack. And there's it's a spectrum. People can be slightly uncomfortable, and then people can have like full-on terror about the idea of walking in, especially like going in and playing what's the charades. Like you can get into parties, you have no idea what you're signing up for, and then you're going to be the center of attention for a game or what have you. So there's a lot of unknowns in it.
And I think that's one of the scariest things, is when you're going into a new event and you don't know what to expect, you don't know who's going to be there. And I actually hate playing games at social events. I remember as a kid, I probably need some accelerated resolution therapy around this, but as a kid, my family used to play a lot of games, and we were very loud and you would get made fun of, and it was because that's the way we showed love. And so to this day, I hate playing games of any kind in social settings. When people are like, hey, let's play a game, I'm like, let's not.
Yeah.
Because that's just not fun to me. But for some people, that's the holiday.
Sure. And I think one of the main ideas with how to deal with it would be to understand your anxiety. And I would even encourage people to say, keep a notebook and document what makes them anxious. Where were they? What were their symptoms? Who was around? What were the circumstances? Were they playing games, or was it eating, or was it an office party? And documenting those things, because we might begin to see a pattern. And if we know that certain social events are what cause us more anxiety, and then begin to have a game plan with how to deal with it. And I think that is another key, like taking time for timeouts.
Oh, yeah.
Even knowing what soothes you, whether it's taking a few minutes away to go outside or to the bathroom, doing some deep breathing, having a support, like phone a friend or asking a friend, can you just reach out around 9 p.m. because I'm feeling anxious, and it might be an excuse for you to just have a pep talk for a few minutes. But there are different ways. But I think that first step of recognizing and understanding yourself, and then being gentle with yourself.
I think that's probably the hardest part for a lot of people, is just that self-compassion, because I think we all have that habit of, especially going to a family event, you almost feel like, well, it's my family, why do I feel like this? Or it's my work people, why do I feel like this? Why am I, running this over in my head? And then you beat yourself up even more because you're feeling this way, or you're worried about eating, or because of something you said, and it just makes it worse. So being able to take a breath and be like, it's okay, nobody else noticed.
Yes, and also the common humanity in it. So many people struggle with social anxiety. So understanding that you're not on an island, you're not alone, you may very much have that experience when you're feeling anxious in a social environment, but it's very common. We see it a lot in the practice as well. And you're not alone. So don't feel like an alien or a foreigner, dealing with something like this. And a lot of the time, anxiety can have its root in trauma. And so if you find that you have documented or you've tried timeouts or it just feels completely too overwhelming to you, you might have a root of an earlier traumatic event, or you might just need some extra support in the form of myself or Tony or someone else at Harper Therapy. So if it feels overwhelming to you, we really encourage you to give us a call and come on in and let's sit down and talk about it.
You can get a free consult and give us a call at 813-434-3639, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.